name's Shannon Kelly, and I started volunteering with Village Table when it started in 2020. We had just moved to Wellesley about a year before, and I didn't know anyone except for people like who lived next door because the pandemic. And I just started volunteering, and I started volunteering every time. So I think I really liked it.
What inspired you to start this?
Yeah, so it was an interesting story. I started a business in the food business, managing dining programs at universities at the end of 2019. And just at the beginning of 2020, when my business was taking off, COVID happened and all the schools closed down. So all of my work potential literally just evaporated. We found ourselves both with our schools closed and trying to figure out what life was all about, what we're going to do. And we're members at Wellesley Village Church. And we have a huge kitchen there. And I just looked at that kitchen, looked at the time I had on my hands and the resources around Wellesley and thought, why don't we feed people?
There's a lot of things that we need as a person to be able to operate and that kind of thing, and one of the main things is being able to eat something that's good and delicious.
The dish we're making is Moroccan chickpea stew, and it's topped with cilantro and a bit of yogurt. So what they're doing is taking kind of a thickened yogurt and freezing it, so that when we package and everything's cold, it will be just dropped onto it and it won't melt into the dish. Good. But you have to go halfway and down and then turn it halfway and down so thick. Because what everyone else does is goes like this, and if it slips, it's very tricky.
This week we were peeling pounds and pounds of sweet potatoes and chopping them into cubes and chopping herbs into big boxes for the prep session, making big trays and pans of couscous. So how can you not feel like you're growing when you're helping other people, for starters? But being at Village Table specifically is, for me, is important because my kids don't go to the local schools, and so this is much more of a way of us being part of the local community as much as anything else as well.
My name is Cindy Kleinmarmer. I am a resident of Wellesley and not a member of Village Church, but actually have been involved with Village Table since summer, I think fall of 2020. So there are times that, first off, everyone that I've met has been so welcoming. There's something very special when you come in. We joke about the fact that we don't wear name tags because we want part of the ambiance of the kitchen to be, hey, I'm Cindy, what's your name? And tell me about yourself. And whether that's, someone my age talking to a high school or even a middle school student, or to somebody who's long retired and is telling me about when they raised their kids and locally. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
And so how has your work here at Village Table and volunteering affected you personally?
I think it's made me feel better about myself. So sometimes I think we get so into our own lives and our problems that we forget about people who have we're not the only people with problems. Everybody has them. And it just makes me feel good to know that I'm helping some other people.
This has coriander and paprika and cumin, a little bit of salt. We don't use very much salt because a lot of the folks that we give meals to are kind of watching sodium intake. All right, now you just get in there with your hands. Behind you, you'll put them in the middle oven, and it's hot, so you're going to take your gloves off a little bit. You can be the door guy. Okay, so sweet potatoes are coming out. Perfect, and they'll just cool there. Now she's adding the vegetable broth to the garlic, onion, and spice mixture. Yeah, and the whole thing's going in. All of it? Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing. Oh, the whole thing? Yep. We just let it simmer for 20 minutes. And the chickpeas will kind of absorb some of that sauce. Perfect.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we put it on and
How has volunteering here affected you personally? And are there specific moments or interactions that kind of stick out in your mind when you think about Village Table?
It's actually something that didn't happen at the Village Table. I was out and about with a friend, and we were just talking about what we do because we're all retired. And I said that I did this and I really enjoyed this. And she was so captivated with the idea of the social impact of what we're doing. And food insecurity is just such a pivotal issue. And I said, you know, we really feel gratified that we're making a dent in alleviating some food insecurity. And there were times when, for example, there were times in the kitchen where we had equipment failure and we couldn't satisfy that need that particular day. And it tore us all up because we know that there are a lot of people who depend on this.
It really has just made me more aware of those individuals who don't have enough food to eat, because we're really targeting those food insecure individuals and organizations here in the Boston area. So I think it's just helped me be a better person.
When I do this, I feel just accomplished and satisfied and like I've done something. You know, as I said, my professional work or just being a parent or a spouse or whatever, I've done something more than just what's kind of required by you. And I mean, you do see an impact. Like one of the most impactful times is when I took my son to a community fridge and he saw someone in the community come up and you know, like, Dad, they really need food, or this fridge looks terrible. I'm like, yeah, buddy, I mean, this is kind of like we're trying to accomplish here. It's like we're trying to help those that don't have the means to help themselves, or they want to help themselves, but they're just hungry, or whatever the situation. And we don't know why they're using our food, right, or using the food that we provide. We just know that they need it.
I think when you deliver meals, you really see what we're doing. We're always really proud when we're packaging and we see how beautiful something is that we've worked really hard on, and it feels really good to put it in the refrigerator and put a label on it and everything. But I've had some situations where I've been able to give it to people. The thought of someone who is thinking about where they're going to sleep that night, like taking the time to walk over to me, introduce herself, and thank me, like, is so cool. So those experiences happen every time I deliver, which is really nice. That's probably why I don't have a problem finding delivery people, right?
Introduce yourself and kind of just share a little bit about your background.
Sure. So my name is Stacia. I live in Watertown. I grew up in Lynn, though. So I've been in Watertown about 14 years. So I worked in human resources for like 15 years. Every place that I've worked, I've always been like on the philanthropy side, like doing all the, we would do like the Salvation Army angel tags or food drives or any of those things, blood drives, I would always do those. And I did that for years and I loved it. How I actually got started in the Salvation Army was when I was 5, my dad died unexpectedly, and so my mom had 3 kids, and she was working, but she needed help. They gave us food, and that was a blessing for my family. And then when I got to be 14, I got my first job there, got involved in the food pantry, and volunteered in the food pantry for 17 years. I loved it. It was so fun. And just, you met so many amazing people and you'd hear like their stories and stuff. So I've always continued that tradition of like volunteering and stuff when I was working. But in July of 2022, I got laid off from my job unexpectedly. And it was really hard, and it's been really hard. Because I'm so used to being on the other end where being a volunteer and donating and bringing stuff, and now I'm on the other side. That's been like a kind of a hard transition for me. Because like even when you're like the one that's been helping other people, you don't really know where to go to get help yourself. And that was a struggle for me. And when you're interviewing, you're applying for jobs, I thought, I'm in human resources, I've been in HR for 15 years, I'll get a job like this. Hasn't been the case. I mean, we're almost 2 years later, almost. I still have not been able to find a job. And so I had my first month or so of like being super depressed and really like not knowing what I was gonna do. I had to start going to the food pantry, and that was a really hard thing for me. And it was really like I had to put like my pride aside and be like, I needed help, you know, and I had had a couple of kidney surgeries since then during this time period, and the hardest part is a lot of food pantries, it's amazing and it's wonderful that they have them, but a lot of the stuff that they give you is not healthy. So you're not really able to eat healthy. You're not really able to eat as well as you should be and you want to. The more expensive food is your fruits and your vegetables and your lean meats and things. You can't afford that if you don't have the money for that, you know what I mean? Like if you're trying to figure out if I'm gonna pay rent or I'm gonna buy groceries, my rent is always gonna be the first thing that's gonna get paid. So it's been really hard for me, but after about 2 months of like just sitting around the house trying to apply for jobs and kind of going through like a depression state, I just reached out to the food pantry and I asked, you know, what can I do? Like, do you need help? I needed to get out of my house. Like I needed to get out from just staring at the computer, applying for jobs and just sitting around feeling sorry. So I started volunteering, and they had all these sign-ups, and it was so cool because I started meeting so many nice people, clients, but also other volunteers. It got me out of my house. It made me feel so like better about myself. Like I felt like I was giving back again. And I think that when you're going through a really hard time, you can sometimes unpack and just stay there, and it's really not healthy for you. I think it's helped me feel like this is like God's way of helping me to have a blessing is to help other people. And so I'm just so thankful that I've had the opportunities to be able to volunteer, because it's helped me mentally, it's helped me emotionally, it's helped me be able to have access to better foods, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something. So I'm just blessed every day. And the thing is too, like you're meeting so many nice people, and everyone's like, what are you looking for a job? Like I'm gonna ask somebody I know, or I'll network. And it's like, wow, I never even thought about that aspect of it too. So, but I mean, I'm blessed, I feel blessed about it. It's been amazing. So.
It's looking outside of your group and pulling other people in. So no matter whether it be a club or a community organization, a church, a business, anything like that, like just looking out and inviting others to come to you. I think that is really special. Rather than trying to do something like, let's all volunteer at, some place together for a day. It's what could we do to welcome other people in and keep doing it. It's possible to create something even when you think you don't have all the skills. I mean, that's what I've learned, is that, well, gosh, this seems huge, but I think that building a team around you and getting to know people and welcoming people into your life and caring about other people and building that community, you can do anything. And I think that whatever your cause is, that if you bring other people that are also passionate, and you can accomplish anything. And this community is so giving of their time. I mean, I'll be short people and I'll have 10 people show up to fill 2 slots. I mean, people are really wanting to help.
So, what roles did you play in making this documentary? So to make this documentary, I helped set up the cameras so we could get some good shots, and I also helped cook the food, which was really fun. I also got to interact with other people there. I didn't know that I knew people who worked there, like my friends from elementary school or family friends too. So that was fun seeing them. Were there any kind of unexpected obstacles that you came across during the filming of this or during the making of the food?
I think that like some of our biggest obstacles were like in preparing the food, we just like ran out of certain things. We'd have to like improvise a certain ingredient. And then sometimes lighting was a problem, but we were able to fix that. We just filmed at different times and we were able to put on different filters to fix the lighting.
Can you share a memorable moment or experience from filming this documentary?
For me, the best moment was when Sloan or Jamie went up to the sink and pulled it the wrong way, and it went flying everywhere, and everyone started laughing, and it just filled me with like a sense of community that everyone was having a good time there.
So, Hayden, what was your favorite part of the production process and why?
I found that being able to work like in the kitchen and help like deliver the food to the community to help make a difference is probably my favorite part of the project, because I hadn't really done like any sort of thing like that before, so it was kind of like eye-opening to see how like this was an issue for so many people, how we could help to make it better.
Jamie, can you describe the overall vision or goal of this documentary project?
So the goal of this project was to spread awareness of this outstanding organization, and we really want to emphasize the community within Wellesley, especially in the village table. And yeah, it was just amazing to work in such setting where everyone like treated you as like a close friend or even a very old friend. And yeah, it was an outstanding experience. But like the whole main goal is to just spread awareness of like in terms of like poverty, for like food insecurity, and yeah, that's just the main goal. Yeah.
I just want to say that working on this project with everybody was such an enriching experience, and that I really felt that we were all able to really get our hands dirty, for lack of a better word. And I think that, yeah, everything that you guys have been able to contribute to this project has been amazing. And all of the work that's being done behind the cameras as well, for all of people who don't get shown in front of the lens, their work does not go unnoticed. And I do think that the big thing is just a sense of community. Like, we have a sense of community here, you know, being at BC and being at Wellesley High School, I feel that there's no barrier between that. And just, I feel that this whole experience has helped all of us connect to the greater Wellesley community as well. So thank you very much for all of your time today for the whole project.
Thank you.